everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Misty and today we're going to be talking about homeschooling your school-age kids when you have infants or toddlers around. Granted, when you have a newborn and just those tiny little babies that you're baby wearing a lot, this won't apply as much. This is more about the older infants and toddler age. And I'm sharing with you what has worked for our family the best. Before we get into the details of how I handle my toddler while homeschooling, make sure that you hit that subscribe button down below for all the future homeschooling content that will be going on this channel. And the like button lets me know that this is the type of content you enjoy, so I know what to make for you in the future. Now let's talk about homeschooling with those crazy little kids around. So first and foremost, I know it isn't always easy when we are at this point in parenting of having these children at these very young ages. We are in the thick of parenting, truly in the thick of parenting. We're probably at a higher stress level than when our kids are older. We're running on a lack of sleep a lot of the time, and generally we're stressed out. I don't think the stress ever goes away. Parents of older kids can let me know, but I don't know if that ever goes away. But I do feel like with kids being in that younger, more dependent age, that there is more stress. So I feel you. I know it's not easy. Hang in there, you'll figure it out, okay? You'll figure it out. You're doing great. If your kids are alive and you love them and they know you love them, you're doing great. So there are other ways outside of what I'm going to tell you that work great for families on how to handle those young kids when you're homeschooling. But in this video, I'm sharing what has worked for us, okay? But just know there's way more info out there and resources to figure out what works best for your family if this doesn't work. My toddler, I have 2 kids if you're wondering, so I don't have a household of a ton of kids yet. But my household has a 2-year-old and a 5-year-old. And my 2-year-old, first, the 5-year-old is the sweetest thing. She's really, for the most part, relaxed. She loves to have a good time. She's really chill. She's very in tune with her emotions and loves to talk. She's very predictable. Savannah, on the other hand, my 2-year-old, is a wild card. I never know what I'm going to get day to day. I never know. The girl is just something else, and her energy is out of this world. So when I'm giving you this information, that's kind of the personalities that I'm dealing with in my household, just so you know. So if that fits you, great. I think these will still fit you even if you have a more mild-tempered toddler or infant. So the first most obvious thing that works and is very direct, very obviously, is to homeschool during nap time. Not fun to give up that little bit of like quiet time you get, but to be honest, in my house, I don't really necessarily get it to myself. I have things that Viviana, my oldest, can do during nap time while the youngest naps, but she tends to still gravitate and find her way to me during that time. So there are times that we have to choose to homeschool during nap time, or you could make it early in the morning before the toddler gets up if they have a different time frame that they awaken. And the other option is to wait for your spouse, if you have a spouse, to be home, or a partner, and let them be the one to occupy the toddler or infant while you do the homeschooling, or vice versa. So creating those isolated pockets of time where you can do one-on-one focus with no interruptions are phenomenal if you can do them. Long term, that doesn't work for us. We do use that method on and off throughout the school year, just depending on the temper of my 2-year-old that day, because there are days where she's so like all over the place emotionally that we can't focus on school with her awake. So those are the days where I get my husband involved or I use nap time. So be aware of that. But this here, what I'm about to explain the rest of this video, is what fits the most, like, perfectly. I won't say perfect, actually. Nothing's perfect with toddlers. So we include Savannah in as much as possible. Along the road, I figured out that a lot of the time when she is getting really frazzled and upset, it's easily cured by her being more included. So I think a lot of the times that she was throwing a fit was more about her feeling excluded and not part of the club than anything else, when in my head that's not what was going on. I was just trying to kind of get her in her own little pocket and do her thing so I could focus on Viviana. That doesn't work with a kid like Savannah. Savannah, my toddler, is just very like hands-on and in the mix kind of kid. So I have to include her in our day. So the way that looks is she does lessons right along with us, but I'm creating opportunities for it to be more on her level. So it looks 2 different ways. The first way is, say we're doing math. We use Math-U-See. Math-U-See is done by blocks and worksheets. And so Viviana will have her packet of math problems to be working on, or math concepts to be working on, and the blocks are in front of her. Savannah, simply put, I just print out one extra sheet from that worksheet that Vivi is working on, give it to her. She thinks that she's like doing the whole thing with us. So she just plays with that one sheet. I give her a pencil, she'll write all over it, and she puts her hands in the blocks too, and she's working right along. I just make very clear and direct rules about the blocks. So she knows the blocks do not leave that table. If I let her leave that table with those blocks, I'll never see them again. So we just make very clear and defined rules that you can play this activity along with us as long as you follow mommy's rule that the blocks stay at the table. Generally that works. She feels included. She thinks she's doing the same exact thing as Viviana, and it's fun because she has these blocks and a pencil. Kids love pencils. So that's how we include her in situations like that. That's something where it's harder to create a math situation where I can like, you know, like I can't teach Savannah necessarily addition or subtraction just yet. She's just learning her numbers in general. So the other option of what that looks like is we're working on the same thing, but she has a simpler version of it. So Vivi's curriculum or activity might include something on her challenging level. For instance, say we're learning about birds. I'm going to talk about birds a lot on this channel just because that's where our unit study is. Where we're starting the school year. So Viviana might be doing something more in depth. Maybe we are learning the parts of a bird's body, and she has this worksheet where she's coloring and labeling the body parts so that she can understand those aspects. Savannah will get a printout of the bird and crayons and stickers. So now she's also getting the visual of the bird, hearing audibly everything that I'm saying about the bird, absorbing what she can absorb on her level, while also keeping her hands involved and feeling like she is included. So that's the way that I do that. Now that leads into the next part that explains that well. Choose curriculum and unit studies that include a multitude of ages. Gather Around Homeschool is built specifically around that. That's why we are trying that this year. I can't speak on it 100% just yet because we haven't started the year to put it into practice at the time of me filming this video. But with my research and understanding of the curriculum, I chose it because it's a curriculum that encompasses everyone at every age, all the way up to high school. And what they do is they create the student workbook on the learning level of each age group. So that way we're all sitting at the same table or sitting in the same room, hanging out on the couch, wherever it may be. Everybody's learning on their own level, but everybody is included. So unit studies that or curriculum in general that can include everybody can be really, really great. They can be an awesome asset to your homeschool if you're needing that to be something you can do. Those all-age homeschool curriculums can really be an asset if you're needing to create an inclusive environment where everybody is learning all at once. Might I add, that's also a time saver. You're not working one-on-one on every subject with every person, so you are actually cutting back on homeschooling time and not overfilling your agenda every day. So going into that as well is keep lessons short. So science, supposedly from what I've researched, shows that children have about a 20-minute time span of like how long they'll pay attention to something, their attention time span. With Viviana, I find that very accurate. She can go longer. There are times where if she's really interested, I've seen her go up to 45 minutes before she's like, all right, I'm done. But in general, that 20-minute rule is very good for keeping her stress level low. So Viviana will not voice that she is getting like antsy or frustrated with something. She'll just kind of reach a point of shutting down. So I pay attention to her body language, and she shows me at about 20 minutes in general, we should probably slow down to keep her stress level down. So Savannah, 20 minutes I feel like is still a long time for a toddler in a sense, and it just depends. I mean, I've seen that girl really get her hands involved in something and stay concentrated for 20 minutes, but in general, I'm not going to expect her to do that. So keeping lessons short will help, but on top of that, I don't expect her to sit still and behave and be cool with it the entire lesson. If she decides I'm done learning about these birds in 5 minutes, okay, well, I've created a safe room environment where you can go play with cars on the rug with the, like it's one of those rugs with the streets and the maps on it. Cool, you can do that. You can pull a puzzle out and just work on seeing your colors in a rainbow puzzle. That's fine. You want to play with the magnets? Okay, just ask mommy, let's pull them out. You know, like I've created a setting where she knows where things are that she has the access to and can safely play while mommy's still working with Viviana. If you don't want them leaving the table when you're working, that's fine too. If you can't, you know, if you don't feel safe with them wandering around, or maybe you just, that's not your style, you want everybody together, whatever it is, it's fine. But then you're going to need to create interchangeable activities that are ready to go, because say that you're working on a lesson and she decides she's done with an activity 3 times while you're working with your oldest, then you need to have the next activity ready to go. So you can say, all right, let's pull that tray out and let's put in the new tray. That way you're not taking another 10 minutes trying to put together materials for another project for that toddler or infant, because that takes away from your oldest kid's time to be educated. So having activities ready to go and to just administer are great. And they don't have to be very intricate. Toddlers love simplicity. They just want to work on fine motor skills and get their hands into things and feel and experiment with their senses. So just create activities around that that can be interchangeable quickly for them. Another thing that I've learned with Savannah is making sure that she is well fed will make a difference. Savannah is a foodie girl. She loves everything about food. She is not picky. She will eat just about anything. There are very few things that she says no to. But if she is not well fed, she is mean and cranky and hangry, okay? So if you have that problem, make sure the kid is well fed. You can either have set meals and have those snacks where they just know it's coming, so they look forward to it, or maybe have a snack tray out of healthy options, have some vegetables and fruit out in that snack tray that they can grab and go, all right, I feel good, I got satiated. Those kind of things you can do. Savannah generally is fine sticking to the snack times, but usually when she's getting cranky, the number one thing I do is give her something to eat, and that usually cures it. So usually she's just mean as a toddler because she's hungry. And the last one, this is the last one, and this one is the controversial one, but I stand by it. Electronics. If all else fails, electronics. We have 1 tablet for each person in this household for this exact reason. So sometimes they're just fussy and, you know, they're being infants and toddlers doing what they do. And you just have to go ahead and resort to electronics. I'm not anti-electronics at all. They're not going anywhere anytime soon at all, like permanently. They're not going anywhere. Electronics are part of our everyday life now, and I believe in allowing exposure to electronics and at a young age showing them what's appropriate to use for electronics. So I'm giving them educational opportunities on those electronics. My kids love educational games, so I do resort to that. There are times when I pull out the tablet, I put on those games where she can learn about things, and it keeps her busy the entire time. She might come to me every now and then to help her where she's stuck on one of those activities on the tablet, but other than that, she's good. She really just sits on the couch close to us and she's fine. So I mean, obviously that last one is definitely just a person by person thing, whether they'll do it or not. But like I said, electronics are here, they're not going anywhere. Might as well show them at a young age how to properly use them and what it's appropriate to be used for. So that is what we do for our toddler. There are ways to create other ideas. People do create stations around the room where they have their toddler just trained and get to know, like, to be in that area during certain learning times. That just doesn't work for us. I have a child that wants to be included in everything. And I mean, at the end of the day, guys, if it's really, your mental health is so important, and at the end of the day, if homeschooling isn't working for this season, that is okay. I have a friend where they had to contemplate putting their kids back in the school system because for their mental health, they needed to do that for a time. And then they would pull them for homeschool when they were ready to start again. If that's where you are, that is okay. Postpartum depression is real. Stress is real. There's so many factors that can play into making homeschooling difficult for you, and I get that. That is okay. Don't feel shamed or pressured in any way, shape, or form. As long as your child is getting educated, that's what's important. That probably just made some people mad. That's okay. That's truly how I feel about it. All right, well, thank you guys so much for watching this. I hope it was helpful. Hopefully it gave you ideas on how to homeschool with your infant or toddler. hanging out. And if you have any other ideas that you would implicate into your homeschool day, make sure you leave it in the comments below. I'd love to hear about what you do to include your infant or toddler. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button before you go so that you can stay up to date with all this homeschooling content that I'll have going on this channel. And the like button lets me know that you enjoy this type of content so I know what to make for you in the future. We'll see you guys in the next video. Have fun homeschooling. Bye. What was that? Both hands. Bye. I don't know. Bye.